Hello interwebs. I don't really post many videos to YouTube, but occasionally a subject comes along that I'm passionate about and would like to talk about, and I hope that somebody out there is maybe crazy enough to listen to me or would like to hear my thoughts on things. So what I'd like to talk to you about today is a book that I'm reading at the moment. I must confess that I don't really get that much time to read, or at least as much as I'd like, because I've got quite a busy job and I like to keep up quite an active social life as well, so that doesn't leave a lot of time for reading books. But I'm really passionate about science books. I always have been. I think pretty much my entire collection of books consists of Doctor Who books, reference books that I've used for university and my studies and things like that, and science books. That's how big a nerd I am. And a book's just been published by one of my favourite authors, a guy called Richard Dawkins, who up until very recently was an Oxford professor, in actual fact the Charles Simonyi Lecturer for the Public Understanding of Science. So he's got a huge list of credentials, all based around, aside from his fantastic career in biology and zoology, in trying to make the public understand and appreciate just how important science is and what it means, because people, I think, tend to think that it's not something that the everyday person should know about, or is something that is important, or something that really affects them. But it really is crucial that people understand this kind of stuff. I think anyway. I think that we are hugely privileged in that we understand so much about the universe, and there's still a lot that needs to be understood as well, and we need to drive people to be passionate about this kind of stuff and excite people about science, because it really is an enthralling and fascinating subject. But anyway, that's me just waxing lyrical. His latest book is called The Greatest Show on Earth, which has the subtitle The Evidence for Evolution. And I guess aside from it being a kind of a celebration of evolution, in that it's the bicentenary of Darwin's birth and 150 years since The Origin of Species was first published, it's also kind of a response or a rebuttal to intelligent design theorists or creationists who don't believe in evolution, or who think that there is a severe lack of evidence for evolution, and it's all just this theory, and they use the word theory like theory means that it's not true, and it's just a theory, it's only a theory. But science is all of science is only a theory, from the theory of gravity to the photoelectric effect. All of science is just a theory, but it works, and it's based on a mountain of evidence, and evolution is based on a huge volume of evidence. And that's why I think that this book is important. And I don't really think that it's obviously not the public's fault for not appreciating evolution, because, well, at least here in Britain, I think that evolution isn't taught particularly well in schools. At least when I was doing my GCSEs, way back when I was 15 and 16, I don't think we really covered evolution much. I think we had like half a lesson on it, if that, which is pretty pathetic when you think that, first of all, to not be exposed to the theory of evolution before you're 15 or 16 it is just terrible, because it's one of the most important theories in biology. It's like the grand unifying theory in biology. If there's one important theory in biology, it's evolution by natural selection. So I think that kids aren't exposed enough to it, and I don't think they're exposed to the evidence for it, which is really crucial, I think, to have a critical appreciation of science and how the world and how life works, really. The second thing is over in America, for instance, there's this huge intelligent design movement, and you have the Creation Museum and all this kind of nonsense, really, that I think that this is a big response to it, because they did a survey recently and it suggested up to 40% of Americans don't believe in evolution, which for me is shocking, because evolution is a basic scientific fact. I don't think that we will ever come to a point where the science shows that evolution is wrong. We may have a gap in our theory, a small little hole in our theory, which our current understanding can't explain something that we observe. But evolution on the whole is true. I mean, we see it everywhere. The amount of evidence for it is astronomical. And that's why I'm so thrilled that, you know, Richard Dawkins and many other authors are really trying to change the public's perception of this and make them understand why evolution is true and why it's so important. The book really is beautiful. I mean, it cost me £9 from Amazon.co.uk. It's a beautiful hardcover. It's got loads and loads of beautiful colour photos in it, explaining various different parts of the theory and all the evidence involved. It really is just a high-class book, and for £9 I think it's a brilliant deal. It should cost 20, so that is really thrilling. And I'll pop a link in the sidebar somewhere over here. Over at richarddawkins.net, I think you can read the whole first chapter for free, or the whole first couple of chapters even, which is really, really cool, I think. And that's how, aside from going out and buying the book, I read the first couple of chapters online and thought this is really interesting, it was worth a read. So I've only read, as I say, the first couple of chapters, but I'm going to try and read more as I go along as well, and I'll try and put up maybe a little review here, but so far it's really promising and really exciting. Another book which I'm reading is by a gentleman called Brian Cox, who is a professor at Manchester University, and he is working at the Large Hadron Collider, and he presents a lot of science shows on television, and he's written a book with Jeff Forshaw, also another lecturer at Manchester University, called Why Does E equal MC Squared? And the little tagline down here, which you probably can't read, is And Why Should We Care? And this is again another really interesting book. I'm about halfway through it, but it basically derives probably the most well-known and again misunderstood equation, E equals mc squared, first formulated by Einstein, and it derives it from essentially Pythagoras' theorem. So all you need to know is a bit of Pythagoras and you're away with this book. It really is very clear-cut, very nicely done, and anybody who wants to know anything about space and time, I think it's definitely worth a read. It's only a tiny little book, and one of my favourite, and I think he was an absolute genius, personality, Stephen Fry, has written on the back here. He says, can think of no one, Stephen Hawking included, who more perfectly combines authority, knowledge, passion, clarity and powers of elucidation than Brian Cox. If you really want to know how big science works and why it matters to each of us in the smallest way, then be entertained by this dazzlingly enthusiastic man. Can someone this charming really be a professor? So I think that sums up the book very, very nicely, and I'm really enjoying it. So if you have a bit of spare dosh and you like reading about science, I'd say that these are the two books to read at the moment if you've got the chance. So thanks for listening to me waffle on for a little bit. I'll post some more videos in the future because I really could get into this video blogging thing. It's nice just to sit down and push record and not have to worry too much about things and just post it onto YouTube. So cheers, and I'll see you soon.